birthday celebration definitely needs a cake, so obviously it's incomplete without a cake. That goes without saying, of course. And would you take a good look at this cake? What do you see there, apart from a cake? I love the sound of that word. Well, this is going to be a birthday to remember. Sir, would you please do the honors? For a big cake, for this beautiful 4-tier cake. We cut this beautiful cake. As you can see, as we cut this beautiful cake, we have this beautiful drone that is showering chocolates on your head. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is a birthday party to remember for sure. Have you ever seen it raining chocolates in your life? Well, it only happens here when Britannia celebrates 100 years. Let's have a huge round of applause once again for this beautiful celebration. And so we're not going to let you go without saying a few words. Can we have you here to say a few words, please?
All of you, Britannians, I want to let you into a bit of a secret. He's going to get very annoyed. You know something? Only the top layer is cake, the rest is cardboard. I can't believe it. On the 100th year, we don't have enough money to bake a cake. It's all cardboard. I got a shock. I said, why isn't it going down? He said, it's cardboard. I hope your dinner is not made of the same stuff. You know? I mean, really. But the real cake, I presume, is somewhere. Anyway, good way to start the second 100 years. I hope our performance will not be made of cardboard going forward. You know, 100 years is a long time. So when any relative or any person in life aspires to live, and we want your family members, your mother, your father, you always wish they lived to 100. Most of us don't have the privilege of having had that happen to us. But Britannia is part of our lives. And I think it's just wonderful that we are here to celebrate 100 years. And I think we have something very, very special to be proud of. So why don't you all applaud yourselves? Because you all did it. You know, there are very few companies that have actually reached 100 in our country. I'm proud that in our group, this is the third company to reach 100, not the first. I say, is this fellow going to keep drumming all the time? Aren't you all deaf by now? I'm almost tone deaf after the noise. Yeah, Bombay Dyeing is 138. Britannia's, Bombay Burma is over 150, which is, and now Britannia. I think Goa has a little way to go at the moment. You know, the life of the company has been varied. It started very small. It started in a small little, and I think the whole history has been presented. I think you're presenting it later, am I? Are you? Anyway, we presented it last time when we all met in our managers' meet. But the history of this company started with a very small beginning. And over the years, it's grown. My association with this company is just about 25 years now. So I've done about a quarter of the century, not the whole century. And let me tell you, it's been quite a journey. That journey has really consisted of in fact, my interest in Britannia started. My friend Mr. Hirji is unfortunately not here because we started together on it. It was in the 80s when Huntley and Palmer decided to exit from India. And from memory, there was the managing director of Huntley and Palmer was a man called Keith Bright. And I came to learn that Britannia was being, in a sense, disinvested. And we signed an MOU. Unfortunately, at the time, the Huntley and Palmer itself was acquired by Nabisco. And so that transaction had to be called off. So that was attempt number one, which failed. Then later on, we decided, it was Nabisco and ourselves decided that we would work together because I had that MOU and I went to Nabisco and I said, look, you may have acquired it, but I have an agreement. And so they decided to work with me. Little did I realize that they would shortchange me. But that became the record of Nabisco at the time. I think you've heard of a famous film called Barbarians at the Gate. So my first experience was to deal with one of those barbarians. And so we lost Britannia for the second time. And then, as you all know, Nabisco took over. At that time, we as the group, Wadia Group, had about 7% shares because we acquired those shares on the word of Nabisco that you buy the shares and we will then go 50-50 together. What they did was I bought the shares, but their shares never came, and that's why things didn't work out. And then came Rajan Pillai and Nabisco, and I don't want to go to that chapter because it was not the best chapter of Britannia's history. And then fortunately, I tied up with Danone, and we worked together from '93. That's when I came into the company. And it was a little bit of a checkered history. Most of you know it, some of you don't. But the long and short of it is, we're all here together. And I'm very proud to be here, and I'm very proud that Britannia is what it is. And I'm very proud to be associated with the company and with all of you. And all that effort to get to Britannia has proved way beyond my expectations and has been a wonderful journey. And I thank all of you for it. You know, now Britannia, and I could never have conceived that, is a company which is one of the leading companies in the country. It's certainly grown in every respect. And today we now have 50 million packs a day being produced in our factories and is distributed and eaten. I mean, 50 million packs a day are a hell of a lot of biscuits. And all of you produce them, sell them, and get the consumer to delight in them. And I think that's a great achievement, and thank you for it. The other thing is that the fruits of your labor, and the proof of the pudding is always in the eating, is that the value of Britannia today is higher than it's ever been. I never imagined in my wildest dreams that Britannia will end up with a market cap of 77,000 crores. And it's all of you who made it happen. So, thank you again. You know, one of the things that we attempted, and I think if you look at it, Britannia had a checkered history. And in 2013, I think 22nd of May, wasn't it? 22nd. Yeah, 22nd of May, we all met. Not all of you here, but many of you here met, which were the 350 or thereabouts, is that right? Managers. And at that meeting, the reason we had that meeting was because, frankly, the results of Britannia had become extremely disappointing. And that disappointment, I think, was that we had steadily, over a period of almost 5 years, deteriorated in every aspect of our endeavor. And as I said then, and I say it again today, the buck stops here. So I am not holding anybody responsible for that result. I can only say it happened. And I was the chairman then, and I'm the chairman now, so I'm equally responsible for what it was then. So I came and appealed to all of you that we need to do something about it, and let's commence upon a journey where we build or rebuild Britannia and make it a company not only from the point of view of how we convert its results, but make a company of Britannia for Britannians, and Britannians build Britannia. And as you all know, from there onwards, I also said that my policy will be that Britannia must grow from within and not keep taking management from without. And I think we will of that, apart from the fact that we got everybody to buy into what the issues were and what the challenges were. And on that, I would just like to quickly take you through what we were exactly 5 years ago, well, a little bit over 5 years ago, and what we are now. Go slowly, whoever is placing that button. So this is the checkered history of Britannia. It was all over the place. These were the results we presented. This is exactly the presentation that was made on that first day in 2013 May. We presented this and we said, look, this is not a result that we are necessarily proud of. Next. Look at the profit line. It was between stagnant and deteriorating from the period 2004 to 2012. It moved nowhere. This was not a result to be proud of. Next. Market share. From 2005 to 2012, it was a solid line going down. Go next. So what did we do? Go on. Firstly, before we get to all this nitty-gritty business, what we actually did was, we said, look, let's recognize where we are, and let's all work together to change it. And I think one of the things that we learned at the time was to understand, what does the consumer think of us? What do the distributors think of us? What do the retailers think of us? And what, instead of saying we think we are the best, let the consumer be the judge of what we are and who we are. And I think that was an eye-opener. I think we had, if you remember, made presentations of the shops, of the shelves, of the distributors, the warehouses, the factories. And then all of you decided, or we decided together, and all of you went out and became the auditors of our performance. And I think that was one of the major steps in the way forward for us to make change, because you saw the reality of what Britannia was in the market, in the factory, in the depot, in the retail shop, and what these people were saying about us. And the amazing thing was that you all took it on board and decided to do something about it. And then identified what were the things we needed to do. And I'm not going to go through this slide by slide, but these were the things that we decided were the key issues to address. And I think we have done most of all of this. And then if you look at the result, next. With all this hard work and endeavor, what did we achieve? Next. I just want to correct the number. The number there is wrong. See, it was not 314, because that was for the first year after our endeavor started. The number is 4.7%, and I think 232 32 crores. So we were 232 crores. We're now at 1,290. We were at 4.7. We are now at 13.9. Next. And so, are there any more slides? Yes, one more. Last one. By the way, that number again is wrong because it's 13. The number in 12 was 5,000. So 5,000 to 78,000. So, who proved that it could be done? Who proved it? Who? Right. So you did it. Now, I think that's something that we have something to celebrate. Just imagine for a moment, had you not done what you did in the last 5 years, what would have been our centenary celebration about? And I must tell you, this all happened because of you and the leadership of the executive group, all the ExCom members, and most of all, Varun. No, it's you. You know, he's a giraffe. So he took these strides in a very measured way. He looked at where he needs to go, and he literally, like a giraffe would go through the jungle, step by step by step, took this company in a very measured, after diagnostic, deciding what required to be done, what were the issues that needed to be addressed, how to create the leadership to do it, and finally how to motivate all of you to work, was the culmination of this result. And I think we need to acknowledge that. I'll do it. And for me, it's not one man who does anything. It's a team. And the team was led by these gentlemen who should stand up and take a bow. All of you. The collective efforts of this team and all those who work with them, whether it be in the way we do product development, I mean the penetration that we have achieved as a company in the marketplace and the number of outlets that we have, the pace at which we have grown that in the last 5 years is more than we grew in I don't know how many years. It was stagnant. You know, product development. The product development team's only job was to find samples to give to the board in the board meeting and all the directors tasting it, but it never went to market and the market never accepted them. When the R&D team now work not for the board to munch on, they work for the market and for producing the products which the consumer will buy. So the whole product development, the people management, the entire purchasing and commodity purchasing of this company has taken a huge change. You know, marketing, sales, the challenges, the way we have grown Good Day, the way we have grown the brands, all this has been done by a leadership team of which personally I'm extremely proud. I think we should really acknowledge what they've done. And last but not least, they couldn't have done any of this without you. So I think we have a lot to be proud of. I believe that Britannia now has never been better poised to enter the next century of its existence. I don't know whether in my karma I will be reborn to Britannia one day, 100 years from now, I have no idea. But I wouldn't mind coming back to see. Because I'm sure that with the legacy that you have now created, and hopefully that you will pass on as time moves on to your successors, that Britannia will have a future which is now built on a foundation of good quality management, of commitment, loyalty, and really the ability to meet challenge. And I believe Britannia is in that position. And now, I think the next step is, it's our duty to see how we ensure that this gets passed on to our successors as you grow in the organization, to the people who are entering the organization. From the first management trainee to the chief executive, we have to have only one thing. We're all Britannians. We all work together, and we all share together. And at the end of it, we pass on the legacy to the next generation. And that is your duty and mine to do that. So I think for the next 100 years, if we want to plan, let's plan to do what we're doing today better. And let's try to see that we have a management which is inclusive, where you embrace each other and you teach your future managers what you have accomplished and share with them, so they can actually, the greatest achievement is to have them do better than you. Because that means that the pupil has learned more than the teacher, and as the teacher grows on, the pupil becomes the teacher, and if he has actually built he's educated, built, and taught and passed on, he will leave a stronger and stronger management behind him. So I think that is the challenge for us going forward. I'm not getting into the detail of what we'll do here or what we'll do there, or product development, and what we'll do in manufacturing, or what we'll do in I'm just simply saying it's the people who have to build the organization and pass on the baton to the next generation. And that is one of the things you should do. Some of you are very young. I've been lucky enough to associate with young managers. And when I meet with them and talk to them, I also feel a great sense of exhilaration that there is a young group of people in this company who are passionate enough to want to take it forward and build it. And if that is the case, then we're in good hands, because we have got that passion even from people who are in their 20s. And they are the future of the company. So I think we have a wonderful management. I think we have a very enterprising future ahead of us. But after having said all this, I have one point which I want to bring out. And that is that at the end of the day, working for money, working for performance, working for result is not enough. We must work for our fellow human beings in our country. We live in a country with tremendous poverty, tremendous amount of misfortune, tremendous amount of underprivileged people, many of whom don't have a square meal in a day. And I think it's our duty to give back to society what society gives us. And one of the things which I have been very, very passionate about, and where I believe Britannia can play a role, is to how to address malnutrition in India. Malnutrition in India it's actually a shame on us. It's a shame on this country. It's a shame on the people of this country, including me. If you look at it, 200 million people go hungry in this country every day. 3,000 children in India die every day from diet-related illness. Around 1 million of our children don't even live to see their 5th birthday. Just think about that. And last but not least, almost 40% of the population of this country, children, are malnourished. And the lactating mothers are undernourished. So when they give birth to a child, the mother's being undernourished, the child is not born as a normal child very often. And the R&D center here has been working on how to produce a product which is actually a carrier for meeting the needs of the deficiencies of malnourishment. We have started working in some districts around India, and that is separate from this, where we are trying to work with educating the mothers, changing their diets, etc. And there was a man who I had a great belief in, called Nana Deshmukh, who believed that self-help is the only way to change things. Doles don't work. People have to work for themselves to build their own lives. And so we are, in a small way, now started to work in villages where we find a holistic solutions to the society. You know, there are Adivasi children who don't even speak a known language. And when I went to see Nanaji's setup in Chitrakoot, these children were making their own chalk, their own candles, they were making their own slate boards. What was the message? It was, you do it for yourself, even from the time you are young. And if you work for yourself, you will ultimately be able to be strong. You cannot be strong on a dole. So the idea of this, what I'm talking about, is not to give out dole and give money. That's the easiest thing to do. Just sign a check and give it, and your conscience is clear. I want Britannia to work for the society wherever it exists. We must always remember we have to work for our society. So malnutrition is the subject which we have chosen. And the Britannia Nutrition Foundation is going to, it's not the money part, is really going to work very seriously in the years to come, starting when we've been doing it for some time, not producing statistical books and saying what the problem is, but working to actually deliver the solutions. And my endeavor is that Britannia should produce a product which can be provided to the unfortunate at a very low cost to meet the needs of malnourishment. And on that, I don't wish Britannia to profit. I don't want to make any money out of that. We have been lucky enough to create wealth. We should spend that wealth in sharing it, and this is one way of sharing it. Okay, I've pontificated enough. I think, this is a moment of celebration, and I don't want to end it on such a serious note, but it is something which we face. When we drive around in our country, all we see is poverty, and that hurts. So this is very, very dear to my heart, and I really want to do it. I want your help in this. When we talked 5 years ago about how do we change Britannia, you did it. Can we also try and see how we can change the environment around us in our small way? We need all of us to do that, and that would be my request as a good beginning for the next century for us. Okay, having said that, I think all I can say is that I hope that the next century, because I'm not going to be here for that much longer, is as rewarding for Britannia, Britannians, and the society around us as the first century has been. Thank you so much.